So you know about personality mismatches. These are those couples that you see arguing nonstop. Well, for some reason they seem like they just can't get along, but did you know there's also a mismatch that people rarely talk about? And it's called a size mismatch. A size mismatch is where the male partner is either too small or too large for his female partner. As a matter of fact, this was such a well-known concept that in ancient Chinese culture, matchmakers actually used facial properties, the symmetry of the face, to guesstimate male length and girth, and then match partners by using female facial properties to guesstimate the length and the depth and the qualities of her vaginal canal. Well, I'm Dr. Rachel Ross, a board-certified family medicine physician and a clinical sexologist. And today, we dive deep into the issue of size. His size and her size, because it does matter. Now, the concept was, if a man was a whale, his preferred partner would need to have an ocean for him to float and swim around in. On the flip side of that, if the man had an eel and not a whale, his preferred partner would have a nice small pond for him to swim in. And ancient matchmakers really understood that a size mismatch could really throw things off sexually. And in a world where so much can actually go wrong when you pair up two people during a marriage, they at least really wanted to make sure that they got the sex part right. So according to Taoist theory, the face revealed everything about the genitals. They used the face and the fingers to determine the size, the shape, even the consistency of the vagina and the penis. So take a look at your hands and take a look at her face. You can actually learn how to spot a size mismatch before it even becomes a thing, right? Like at dinner or even on a Zoom call, starting with the eyes. Taoist theory believes that the facial features are about at least 90% accurate about giving cues about the size and the shape of a woman's vaginal canal. So if a woman has big watery eyes, the concept is that she would have a, quote, big watery vagina. In fact, the bigger the eyes, the wider the vagina. So for guys who are bigger, that's a plus, right? If she has a small mouth and short fingers, she would have a small and short vagina. Now, a woman with a wide mouth and thin lips would have a narrow yet long or deep vaginal canal. If she has big, full, juicy lips, then her vagina would be wide. Now, a woman with bulging eyes, so the eyes say everything, she would actually have a short vagina, which seems quite opposite. A woman with puckered and protruding lips or high cheekbones are actually thought to have a very elastic vagina that's wet, warm, and soft. So of course that's the kind that everyone wants to have. They firmly believe that a woman with a long, narrow vagina would actually be best suited for a man who had a long, thin penis, right? And a female with a short and wide vagina would be best matched with a man with a short, chubby. So this is based off of 1,000 years of Taoist theory. But what does the average woman think about size? How much is enough? Is there such a thing as too big? And since we know size does matter, what size is the best? So in this video, we'll discuss what science tells us about what size brings the most pleasure and the most joy, and ultimately, what size do women actually prefer? So since every woman is different, I'll tell you one simple question that you can ask her before the two of you actually have sex to uncover whether or not a size mismatch exists. Before you waste time and kind of hook up, both of you can be on the same pages. Now, there are two popular ways to measure sexual pleasure in women. One, you can ask her or survey her, and you can measure or ask them to document if and when they had an orgasm. And the studies that we talk about did just that. In fact, only 18% of women report that they can actually even reach orgasm with penile and vaginal penetration alone. And women are more likely to reach orgasm through direct clitoral stimulation or through oral manipulation of the clitoris. That is a known fact. So if you are a gent and you are watching this, then no doubt you're wondering if your partner has better statistics than that. But the lack of orgasm during vaginal penetration has to do with 4 things. So listen up. It has to do with her size, his size, the technique, and actually the anatomy. The proximity of the exterior portion of the clitoris, the glans clitoris, to the opening of the vagina. How far or how close is this? Now, to illustrate this, in 1920s, kind of interesting, French princess Marie Bonaparte was frustrated that she herself could not reach orgasm with vaginal penetration. So she recruited over 200 women, now where she found these women, who knows, and measured the distance between each woman's clitoris and vagina. Her hypothesis was that the further the glans clitoris was from the vaginal opening, the less likely the woman would be to have an orgasm with vaginal penetration. And guess what? She's absolutely right. If the distance between a woman's clitoris, the glans clitoris, and the vaginal opening is more than 2.5 centimeters, then that woman is less likely to reach orgasm with vaginal penetration. And why is that? Well, the answer lies in the part of the clitoral anatomy that you really can't see. So this is the glans. This is the part that you can see, which is most recognizable part of the clitoris. It's actually the tip of the iceberg. People call it a button. But just like an iceberg sticks out of the water but has a huge part beneath the water, the clitoris is the same. You see the glans on top, but most of the clitoris is actually underneath the surface and not seen. The pleasure is found in the connections between the clitoris, the urethra, and the vagina. We call that the clitoris urethra vaginal complex. These connections are really what makes sex pleasurable. And when this area is squished close together, it is easier to stimulate the complete pleasure center because all of these structures exist in a tight, compact space. Now, when the glans of the clitoris is far away from the introitus, or the opening of the vagina, it's really just more difficult for a penetrating penis to stimulate and to stroke all of the parts of the clitoris, since it's all really underneath there. So this is why a snug fit seems to indicate the highest level of pleasure when it comes to penetration sex. So since every woman is completely different, there's one question that you can ask a female partner to uncover whether or not she would prefer a large whale or a small eel. And this question is, dun, 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 do you prefer orgasm through penetration or oral? See, because science tells us that women who prefer it on the inside and who can orgasm through vaginal penetration are actually more likely to like a bigger, thicker penis. So if you have one, you two might be a match. If you don't have a big one, well, she's a potential mismatch. Now, how many inches exactly do women want? We can look at the size and the shape of sex toys that they've bought to kind of give us some idea. The thought is that women are going to buy sex toys that they like the shape of and they like the size of the best, right? So there actually is a study that where they surveyed women who bought sex toys. Now, these are British women, so this isn't everybody, and this happened in the UK, and assessed the popularity of 265 sex toys. They looked at their size, they looked at the material, they looked at the price, blah, blah, blah. But what they found is that women don't buy the huge Mamba Jamba. The toys that they love the best had an average circumference of about 4.8 inches, which is actually the size of the average Joe. The average erect penis and girth is around 4.59 inches. So women did, however, favor a longer dildo at about 7 inches. But these things do need to have a long enough handle or else they could get lost. So the average length of an erect penis, meanwhile, is around 5.16 inches. So they do like them a little longer in toys. Now, this study really only accounts for British consumers. And clearly that is not most of women, but it does provide a clue. Now, another study they did used 3D models, and they found that the preferred length varied depending on if the guy is a fling or if he's a steady partner. Isn't that interesting, right? So for a one-night stand, women preferred a length of about 6.4 inches and a circumference of 5 inches. For a long-term partner, they actually preferred them to be slightly smaller. Now, this is because women don't like feeling worn out and sore down there 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And you don't get that if it's just a one-night fling. So when we explore this issue of size scientifically, we find that women prefer an average size penis when it comes to penetration, around 6 to 6.5 inches long when erect, with a circumference of 4.5 to 5.5 inches. Women who prefer a longer and thicker size typically are women who like and who can orgasm through penetration. And if your package is longer and thicker than the average, women are more likely to just want to keep you in the friends with benefit category and not the marrying type. So use those facial features to figure out where you guys are with things. So there you have it. I'm Dr. Rachel. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you see or hear, and stay ahead of the game. So also check out my new podcast called Give Me an E, wherever you enjoy listening to your podcast. Now, pertinent links to products are listed below. I'll see you later.